So again, welcome to everybody to this webinar. And what I'm going to be speaking about today is how do you generate large and engaged audiences, generating a smarter kind of marketing for your business. My name is Sunil Bhaskaran, and I'm the founder of what's called the Global Business Mastermind, which has about 65 members and growing pretty rapidly. And we've been around for 5 years. The premise of the Global Business Mastermind is that we facilitate collaborations for business people like you. We train you in how to build large audiences, or if you already have a pretty decent business that you've been in for a while, but you want to get to the next level of your audience build, you certainly want to come and talk to me. And I certainly want to talk to you if you're ambitious, generous, and want to generate partnerships with other people to co-build an outstanding audience that's engaged for you. One other thing you want to know about me is I have 100,000 plus meetup organization comprised mostly of business owners and professionals here in the Silicon Valley area of Northern California. My meetup groups that I collaborate with other people collectively are growing anywhere between 800 to 1,000 new members per month. And that rate of growth is also accelerating, so you're noticing. Been a business mentor, business owner, author, and speaker since 1991. Those of you who are interested in generating a speaking career, definitely stay tuned as well. If you're interested in selling your books or your expertise, you certainly want to hang out for this webinar. One other thing you want to know about me is I was a successful entrant in what's called the Shark Tank for Experts, a joint venture inner circle, which is a select group of experts around the world. And I had 8 out of the 10 judges there were well-known judges agreed to promote me and were interested in this idea of how to generate an audience using the platforms and the systems that I'm about to mention. Okay, my vision is to have 100 million joyful and successful entrepreneurs by the end of 2027 in the world. And this is no longer a pipe dream. I'm seeing that the structures that I'm creating, the collaborations, both high-level, low-level collaborations, cumulatively are generating a lot of reality, concrete behind this goal. There's nothing, there's some things that could be better than generating 100 million joyful and successful entrepreneurs. But the beauty of generating this is that I see that if each of those 100 million joyful and successful entrepreneurs take on another 80 people, or they hire 80 people, they mentor 80 people, that would really significantly take care of the world's population and make this world a much better place. So what do I provide in terms of services? And I promise I'm just going to share a little bit about this and then get into content, because a lot of people do ask me about this. The first thing I do is one service I provide is I create a client pipeline done for you. So I create the system, I implement it, my team, and basically I put appointments in front of you. We're not taking too many clients for this particular side of our business right now. We're highly selective about what we do here in this particular side of our business. But basically we provide a pipeline of appointments to you so you can convert them into clients for yourself. The second thing we do is the Global Business Mastermind. And in this mastermind, it's both in terms of an environment or an ecology, you could say, or that we provide for our clients who are in the mastermind to collaborate with each other. They also collaborate with me. I also promote them to my 100,000 people, contingent on their branding being good. And I do a lot of promotions for my masterminders because that's the way business should be done. It should be done collaboratively, but with integrity so that everybody wins. The second thing that we do in the mastermind is we train people. And there's so much to train because there's so many great ideas that I won't have time to cover everything today, but I'll certainly cover a good part of the basics that we train people in, or at least give you an introduction to some of the basics that we train people in the mastermind. How to build an audience engage, create collaborations, and then sell to the audience as well. So what you're going to get today on this training, we're going to talk about Meetup and LinkedIn. Those are not the only platforms that I use. I'm not affiliated with Meetup and LinkedIn, obviously, but I use Meetup and LinkedIn just like people use Facebook as a platform to market their businesses and themselves. But I'll show why Meetup and LinkedIn are becoming your best bets to generate audiences. I'll show you the basic steps that I train people for generating a large audience. And this includes high-level connectors as well as the masses of people that you may want to reach. And I advocate for in almost any business, you probably want to do a combination of both because they help both high-level connectors and mass levels of audiences kind of work together very well. Then I'll share the opportunity, why you want to start acting now, why you may want to join our mastermind. I don't think it's for everyone. I think it's for people who really want to generate an audience in a partnership basis, and they can see the vision, what I'm doing. But there's a stark, very practical, massive opportunity that I'm personally providing for people who join the mastermind, and I'll share what that is and why I do it. And then a simple, easy, concrete step to make this real for you, which won't cost you much at all. In fact, nothing at all. So those are the 4 things I'm going to provide for today. Who is this training for? So business owners, anyone with any kind of expertise. There are many people who come to me and say, I don't have any expertise. And as I dig in, I find out they've been doing something for the last 3 or 5 years, or they've had an interest in it. They've been dwelling in it, delving into it. And they have some expertise, or they can curate expertise for other people, or they have their own expertise and they want to share it with people, but they don't know how, or they're not doing as well as they could be, or they're building, but it's not going as well as they could, or they're not hitting that ideal clients, or they don't feel quite energized about it or feel right about it. Their voice kind of falters when they share about it in front of their audience because they don't think their audience is really that engaged. And so all of these people, I mean, I tend to work with visionaries and experts who really want to get the word out on what they do, and people with causes, but also people with businesses who are interested in a bigger game. I work with coaches, usually coaches who are either new and again ambitious and ambitious and generous, as well as coaches who have some experience and really want to get to the next level. Speakers, authors, bloggers, again, anybody with expertise, service professionals who are in real estate investment or investment, writers, financial, wealth, health. In our mastermind, we have quite a range of people. We have people who are in real estate investment, financial planning, coaches, authors, cryptocurrency, fitness, nutrition, and probably tons of others I haven't quite remembered what they are, but it's quite a range of people, and that range is very good. It's always great to have a diverse group because, it's amazing when we meet as a mastermind how the people who are experts in cryptocurrency suddenly realize that they can collaborate with coaches and expand your mutual audiences quite substantially. And it's fresh audience, which is more interesting, see, because you're hitting people who may not have heard about what you do, and what you do may be extremely relevant to this fresh new audience who would be very hungry for the kind of service that you're doing because they just didn't know that you existed. So it's always good to have a diverse group of people in a mastermind, not just small business people, but also people who are doing bigger things, nonprofits. We have a large church here in the Bay Area who's part of our mastermind as well. So the only reason I'm sharing all of this is to give you an idea of how relevant this is and how relevant this could be for you, and give you some ideas on how you can really expand the diversity of your connections. So why do we build an audience? This is an important question to ask. And There are two answers. One is so obvious, and most of you are probably raising your hands or rolling your eyes right now and going, of course, you need to build an audience for a business because you want to build clientele and profits. So, of course, you need an audience. But the other answer is not so obvious, but probably more important to know and to understand. And it's something that most people don't really engage in. So, uh, you really want to take this to heart because this answer is the key, the biggest key I would say for almost all of you, not most of you. And I've talked to literally thousands of people in the course of my networking groups, etc. Um, but this is probably the most important answer to the question. And the answer is that you need an audience to test and refine your marketing. Because you may have an idea of how to market, and you may even be doing it. But if you're not having an audience to test and refine, and you're not ongoingly trying different audiences or new audiences, then you can't really make your marketing more robust. And you want to do your best to make your marketing robust. You want to try different audiences. You want to test it on a bigger audiences. And that's how you make your marketing system better and more efficient, and more energizing and more engaging for you, so you don't have to suffer through people that you don't necessarily want to sell to. So that's an important point. I hope you take that to heart. The key to building a business, there are a couple of points here. One, obviously, building an audience. Secondly, engaging an audience. It's one thing to build an audience. It's another thing to actually start engaging them. And engaging them means, you hear a lot about people creating tribes, and there are books written about it, great books, don't get me wrong. But you want to really understand how you want to engage your particular audience in your style. It's not just psychology that you want to use to engage with people, but you got to bring titles and discussion. How do you do that? How do you create systems that engage an audience and then obviously convert the audience into paying clients or engaged clients with you? But the most important key to building a business is this fourth part, which is, I would say, the most important kind of marketing you want to do today, especially today, because there's so much distraction going on in your market, in your target audiences. People are so distracted all the time by politics, by the news, by their kids, by worries, by TV, by the noises outside their office. Probably some of you are trying to work and listen to this at the same time, and I wouldn't advise doing that. But it's tough to get people engaged with you. But if you have collaborations and referral partners and people who can introduce you to new audiences, and these people can edify you, they can say, yeah, Sunil's a good guy, John's a good guy, you should listen to him, he's got some good things to say. These are the 3 reasons why you want to pay attention to what John's saying. Now you've got an edified audience who comes to you, and you're more likely to engage, and they're less likely to be distracted. Okay, so one way to build your audience is this platform called Meetup. And meetup.com is the platform that I use. I'm not affiliated with Meetup. Meetup.com is a platform that you can use. Meetup is currently growing. Meetup does make money. You can use meetup.com to make money. A lot of you did come to this webinar from our Meetup audiences and my collaborators' Meetup audiences as well. Meetup can be used right. And if it's used right, it will give you money. Most Meetup organizers and most Meetups are not used right. They're not designed correctly. And most of them don't do very well because people have an idea that they should start a Meetup. They get into it without really designing it or strategizing correctly, and the whole thing starts falling apart. You might even get a big audience, but it may not engage, or it doesn't have the right narrative or messaging that engages people to continue working with you. Also, most importantly, A lot of meetup organizers don't set it up correctly, so it attracts collaborators coming to you. I get about 5 or 6 invitations that are serious, actually way more that are not serious, because I have a pretty good presence in Meetup, especially in the Bay Area. And now my presence is growing in other cities as well and across the United States. But if you use it right, then you can attract collaborators who will come to you. You don't have to reach out to them necessarily. They'll come to you. Clients will also come to you. Not everybody who comes to you will be, of course, a client. But what we found is about 20% of the people who come to our meetups are pretty serious about doing something. The 80%, not that serious, but you want to engage them in your email list and keep engaging with them in the future so that when they are serious, they will engage with you. So Meetup can be used to create what I call a sales or marketing funnel that or pipeline that can get people who don't know about you to building trust about you or with you, and then eventually engaging you. So Meetup though has to be designed right. That's a big opportunity. If you learn how to do it right, you'll be way ahead of the other people who try to do Meetup in your area. Meetup can be done innovatively. We use Meetup in a very innovative way. The ideas are still brewing and still coming up. We have great ideas now that connect Meetup with city governments, chambers of commerce, and radio shows. We now have a whole system for our masterminders where they can actually get on radio shows using a Meetup strategy. I know it sounds crazy, but you really have to engage in the kind of stuff that we're doing in meetups and see the numbers and see what we do. First off, in order to understand how we do all that and engage media as well. But today I'm going to start simply and explain Meetup in a more simple way so you get it. The other advantage of being on Meetup is, as early adopters on Facebook marketing discovered way back in the early 2000s, or the mid 2000s, if you get in early on something that's growing, then you can just ride that big wave that keeps going. So what is meetup.com? Meetup.com is a platform that people use to generate audiences for their various projects or organizations or causes. The meetups, there are 2 ways that you can use Meetup. You can use it as a free member. And as a free member, where you don't pay anything, you can come on meetup.com, look for groups that you like to join based on your interests. They could be interests anywhere from business networking through your hobbies, through raising alpacas, to doggy groups, through art groups, to relationship groups, to life coaching groups, to spiritual groups. It's almost a whole range of, huge range of topics that you can engage in and groups that you can join. And then in each group, they'll have a set of events, and you can join those events and participate in those either for free or you pay a little bit of money. The other way you can engage with Meetup is as an organizer. And as an organizer, for each email address that you use, you get 1 account. And for that account, you can start up 3 separate Meetup groups. Each of these Meetup groups could be completely different interests, or they could be the same. And you can create as many accounts as possible. And we have several accounts now. I've lost track of them, to be honest with you, but we have at least 40 Meetup groups. I think last count we had about 15 accounts or more. But you basically, when you pay $89.94 for every 6 months, for 1 account, you get 3 Meetup groups. So you want to really get this, because a lot of people get confused here. As a paid organizer, you get 1 account, or you can have several accounts, but for each account, you'll get 3 Meetup groups. So remember that, 3 Meetup groups for every account. And for every Meetup group that you have, you can have an unlimited number of events. Meetup.com prefers you to have in-person events. However, recently they had a policy change and they said for every in-person event, you can do a virtual event. A virtual event could be a webinar like the one I have right now. So if you have 2 events every month, you can do 2 webinars. This should be great news to all of you, because when you start doing webinars, you are no longer geographically limited. There are people who are coming to this webinar right now, probably from London, from Australia, from other parts of the United States. Right now, they're listening on to this because I promoted my webinar to my collaborators who are in other cities, is what I'm trying to say. So, you can expand your reach that way. It's a really, really great way of marketing if you do it right. If you don't do it right, it won't work. So you got to learn from the mistakes I made. There's some very, very salient, important things to understand when you do it right so you can build an audience. The beautiful thing about Meetup is once you set up your groups and your events, there are a couple of things that happen. Meetup will do a one-time announcement, and you can target the people who you feel will be interested in your group. So if your group is about business, for example, you can target entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, senior entrepreneurs, startup people, people in the health field, people who are spiritual practitioners, right through financial planners. You can target people, and Meetup will announce your group and your event one time to everyone within a 50-mile radius of your zip code. Very cool to do. And that's a very great feature. There are other features too, but that's a very important one to remember. It's a good reason, again, if you set up your meetup right and you launch it correctly, then and you select the right target markets, then you will get a very good launch or a good launch as you can and start growing your audience and your engagement. If you don't, it'll fall flat. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing Meetup does really well is that it automatically manages your RSVPs. If you choose to charge for events, you can charge and collect money, and it'll do all of that for you, so you don't have to work so hard. Now, I mentioned earlier that you can set up as many meetup groups as you want, and what I tell people to do is one meetup group and one event is not going to make your business. You want to have several meetup groups in your area to start with. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be now so busy that you won't have time for anything. In fact, as my clients find out very well, that you can set up many meetup groups, but funnel everybody who are in your meetup groups to come to 1 or 2 events a month. If you want to start up with 1 event per month, you can do that. If you want to start up with 1 for 2 months, that's good too. Now, of course, the more events you do, the more meetup groups you have, the faster you'll grow. But the basic idea I'm trying to impart to you is that if you start up a lot of meetup groups, and you can do this very, 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 very easily. It's not very hard to do at all. It doesn't take up too much time. It takes only a few hours a month to manage all of this really seriously. And when you have many groups in a particular area, you just have to funnel everybody to 1 or 2 events per month. So you could have a meetup group, for example, for senior entrepreneurs, another meetup group in your area for women entrepreneurs, but they all come to the same event, which is for entrepreneurs. And likewise, you can do that for your own business. If you're in the spiritual realm, you could have one part of your area. So, if you're in the Bay Area, you could have the San Jose Spiritual Meetup Group. You could also have the Santa Cruz Spiritual Group, but they all come to one event that you hold per month in San Jose. So that makes it very sweet. And of course, the more groups you have, the more funnels you have that direct an audience into your event. It's one of the greatest, sweetest things that I discovered in the course of learning how to do Meetup, trying different things over the last 8 years. And it's the mistake I see a lot of people make is they think, oh, I did one event, it didn't work. Well, of course, it's not going to work. No matter what you do in your first event and your first try, you can't really realistically expect to get 1 million people coming to your first webinar, or even a few hundred, or even like more than 10 sometimes. It may not happen. So it's just something for you to think through here. You want to look at how you build an engine rather than get overnight results. Yeah, so Mike, I got your answer. How do you get people to show up to meetup? So many meetups in Arizona, but hardly anyone shows up to them. Well, you got to pay attention to what I do and how I do it. In my meetup groups, again, what I said earlier, Mike, and it's a really good question, is that you want to create more meetup groups. You want to intelligently target the right people. And this is the most important thing, Mike, that you want to create a narrative in your meetup groups that is congruent with what you're up to, and it's I see a lot of meetup groups, they talk about, that meetup group looks like it's about financial stuff, for example, and then when people show up, it's suddenly about selling alpacas. Now, I'm exaggerating, but this is true. So there's some incongruence in how people set up meetup groups, but then their events don't really mesh with what they describe about their group. So you want to make sure your narrative makes sense. You want to make sure that you have the right target markets. You want to make sure that you get more groups. You don't just settle for one group. You do many groups in your area. And this is the fourth part, the other part, Mike. So you want to look at how you can attract collaborators to come work with you. So in our mastermind, I train people how to attract collaborators like the Chamber of Commerce. We collaborate with the Chamber of Commerce and WeWork. WeWork is a large real estate office company. They rent office space around most of the cities and countries around the world. They actually just purchased meetup.com and they approached me. I never went out to them. They came to me and they offered me free locations to do my events, but also offered to promote my events. The same for the Chamber of Commerce. We work with the Lafayette Chamber of Commerce and other chambers as well. They promote us and we promote them in a very collaborative way. And that's where you start seeing if you intelligently look for the right kind of people who are your kind of style, your personality, you mesh with them, they like you, they see what you're up to because you're transparent in your meetup groups, then you can collaborate with them and generate even more people showing up. And then they join your meetup group and it all works very beautifully. So that's how you can generate more people to show up to the meetup groups. Okay, our events for our startup and tech groups, for example, are wall to wall with people. Typically, about 300 people show up at those events. For our presentation events, we get anywhere from 20 to 25, 30, sometimes 40 people showing up to those events, and about 20% of those people are serious. Now, this takes a while to build, Mike, and everybody else who's listening. I'm not promising overnight results because there's things that you have to work through. You got to make sure your narrative makes sense. Your branding is good. Your branding may be good, but you got to test and refine it. Secondly, you got to make sure that you design the groups correctly. Thirdly, you want to also make sure your events are well designed so that it's engaging and compelling for people to come. I hope that makes sense, Mike. Again, if you have more questions about that, feel free to reach out. Happy to talk to you too while you're on this call too, if you want to. Not a problem. Okay, if you have more questions about it, let me know. It's a great question to ask. All right. So how do you make money? There are at least 6 ways to make money. Now, those of you who are interested in learning how to do that, I'm going to offer you a free chat session here coming up pretty soon. Just stay tuned. I'll tell you how to do it. In fact, actually, I put the link already on the chat box, so you can click on that link and set up a time to talk with me. There are limited time slots that I've assigned. I think a lot of them have already been taken, but make sure you sign up for that link. And I'll show you like 6 ways to make money. But there's a standard way to make money that I want to share right now. It's very, very straightforward. So if you set up a meetup event, you typically have a little bit of light networking at the beginning of the event so people can network and connect with each other. And then you do an educational presentation that has to do with your service or your product. You do the presentation, and I advocate doing it for anywhere between 20 to 45 minutes. It should not take too long. We also, in our mastermind, we train people how to do really effective PowerPoints and presentation. You don't have to do a PowerPoint, but you want to do an effective presentation that addresses people and educates them. People like to be educated in what you're up to. They don't want to get details. They want to understand at a 30,000-foot view how you work. These people are not necessarily flaky or anything. If they decide not to work with you, it's just that they want to learn first and understand what you do before they do any kind of business with you. Then you make an offer. The offer could be a free consultation. And it's what I'm doing right now too on this webinar, by the way. You offer a free consultation. It could be a short chat. You can also offer a paid consultation and do it for longer. And then when you do the consultation that can be scheduled at a future date, then you dig deeper with that person. And this is really great because you really serve the person. The person feels served. They feel like they get their questions answered. They got a way to structure how they could work with you. It makes sense to them. And then from there, you upsell to your paid program. It's very, very standard, works really well. It's effective, and it's a very good way to make business happen. And that's a standard model. Okay, but there's 6 other ways that you can get sponsorships. Companies will pay you money to just put their presence on your meetup groups. This starts occurring especially as you start growing. I remember in my first year, Microsoft reached out to me and wanted me to promote their. I mean, it's very easy. I just had to put their logo on my site and do a promotional once a month through the email system on Meetup, which you can use by yourself to promote yourself as well. And for that, they paid me about $500 a month. And that was in the early days. I wouldn't do it now because it's worth way more than $500 a month to do that. But these are some of the ways that you can make money. You can also charge for your events. You can also create a mastermind program and have the membership pay you monthly using your Meetup system. There are quite a number of ways to make money on Meetup. I'm going to give you a 30,000-foot view of how you can generate a design for your Meetup groups. This also pertains to your LinkedIn outreach. Meetup, any kind of audience build, any kind of marketing system, there is an initial setup where you want to design your Meetup group. This is where, when I work with people, I look at what they're going to offer as a paid offering, because I want to make sure that their paid offering is compelling enough. Because I can get you an audience and I can show you how to build an audience, but if you don't have a compelling offer, nobody's going to buy from you. So you want to make sure your offer is good. Based on your offer, I help you design your Meetup event. Or actually, what I'll do is actually design your free offer, if it makes sense, or your preliminary offer that you make at your Meetup event. And then based on your preliminary offer at your Meetup event, I help you design your Meetup event itself. And then from there, I help you design the entire Meetup group. And you see, when you do it that way, then everything starts flowing very well. A lot of mistakes that people make in marketing is they don't design with the end in mind. What are you going to sell at the end of this system? It's very, very important to understand. If you're not doing that, you got to jump on that right away. Even if you take another week off or 2 weeks and hire someone like me to work on that, time well spent. So you want to make sure your initial setup is correct. You hit the right target markets. And then you do an application on meetup.com. There are some timing issues I'm not going to delve into right now, but based on the kind of Meetup group you have, there are certain days you want to submit the application to meetup.com about your Meetup group. And then Meetup will approve your Meetup group and then announce your Meetup group to all the people who indicated interest in your target markets within a 50-mile radius. And then people start RSVPing and your group grows. What you want to do in the stage 2, in the growth phase, is you don't want to settle for just one group. You want to start creating second, third, fourth, fifth group. As you get more groups, again, don't forget, when you create more groups, they're all going to feed 1 or 2 events per month. So you're not going to be, just because you have more Meetup groups doesn't mean you're going to be terribly, horribly busy and burnt out. All these Meetup groups are going to feed the same events per month. So you start growing more groups. And then when you get to stage 3, this is when you start looking at, and you'll start seeing it as other Meetup group organizers in different cities or within your city will want to collaborate with you. And once those collaborations start occurring, then you start having and experiencing explosive growth phase. This is where it gets really interesting. You start seeing more collaborators noticing you on a nationwide basis, and even in different countries. There are great opportunities in Meetup right now in different countries. It's not like Facebook where all those opportunities are pretty much crowded right now. Very difficult to find Facebook collaboratives right now unless you're at a very high level. But at a low level on Meetup, you can find collaborators who are very interested still in collaborating with you because it's still new, but it's very well structured. Meetup's been around for more than a decade now. So, there's a lot of structure, a lot of systems behind it. And again, if you design your marketing and your meetup phases correctly, you can do pretty well. You can pace yourself. You can go fast with this. You can start with just one group and stay with one group for a while. Or like some of my mastermind people, they like to go pretty quickly, and they set up like 6 groups right away, and it starts building pretty quickly. The other thing I want to mention at this point is, I get about 30% of my business from Google, from people finding me on Google. But guess what? They don't find my website on Google. What do you think they find first? They find my meetup groups. So if you did a search on San Jose Business Networking, for example, or San Jose Business Networking events on Google, you'll see my meetup group showing up at number 3 or number 4 spot, usually about number 3. And I pay an unearthly sum of $89.94 for every 6 months to get to that position. Whereas the number 1 and number 2 spot is held by Eventbrite. I assure you, Eventbrite is paying a lot more money to get to those 2 spots. So I hope that impresses you, because that's really, really great to have. It doesn't happen overnight, but Google will want to verify that you're posting events consistently in your meetup group, you're doing even collaborations, they can detect that. And then they're more likely to promote you on Google as well. Okay, so it's a very important point to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn here. This is where it gets even more interesting. LinkedIn is a great way to reach high-level connectors. But ladies and gentlemen, got to understand, I'm going to pose a question here. Why would high-level connectors want to connect with you? There are 2 reasons why high-level connectors typically connect with people. One is that they like your messaging, and they feel that your messaging is going to resonate with their crowd or people that they can introduce you to. It makes sense to them to introduce you to people. There's, there could be other factors too, like a personality. I acknowledge that, but mostly, personality can only go so far. Most of it is really based on your messaging and your narrative. So this means your online profile on LinkedIn has to be really, really clear. If you go to my profile, it's a very engaging profile. I have people who engage with me almost every week, 5 or 6 serious inquiries at a high level to meet and chat. But you want to make sure that your messaging is good. The second reason people connect with you, voila, guess what? Is if you have an audience. Now, even if you have a couple of 100 people in your audience, I find people are still interested in connecting with you. But if you don't have an audience, if you don't show that you have an audience, then it's very tough for them to really justify connecting with you, because they have so many other people that they have, but it's tough for them to introduce you to them unless you have an audience that can edify you. So if you have a huge audience like mine, it's fairly easy to get connection requests accepted by high-level connections. So this is why we use the meetup strategy in conjunction with LinkedIn. Because if you build a meetup presence, just even in your own town, even if it's a small town, it's a really good start. Why do you think that's important? Because that high-level connector may want to reach out to your town. He may not have, or she may not have, an audience in a town, even if it's a small town. And so there's a good enough reason for her or him to accept your connection. If you have even a couple of 100 people or a few thousand in a small town, or if you have a big city and you have a few thousand, it's a good enough reason for them to want to accept your connection. I hope that makes sense, because that's a really, really salient point, and it enables you to start connecting at a high level. This is also how you attract the attention of speaking organizations. By the way I get speaking gigs nowadays is because I tell speaking organizations that I'll help promote their event. So recently I just spoke at a big event, a MarTech event here in San Jose, at San Jose Convention Center, and they reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. And so, you can start getting speaking gigs at a bigger level, but you've got to build up to it and get Chamber of Commerce is certainly interested, because if you bring an audience in your local city area, there's a lot more reason for them to have you come in and speak without having to join their chamber. This should be really, really intriguing to you, especially those of you who want to build an audience. Now, even if you're an introverted speaker like me, you don't have to try and jump up and down on the stage, etc., and try and get attention anymore. You don't have to bank on your personality. You want to bank on your audience and your messaging. That's where you want to focus on. It makes more sense to do that. So you want to make sure your LinkedIn profile and the system that you have on LinkedIn that we help people in our clientele do in our mastermind, we help you design a customized design of a pipeline or a sales funnel on your LinkedIn profile. Very, very cool. And if you work that with your meetup groups and you create a LinkedIn group that can also feed your meetup group and vice versa, now you're really creating a very solid engine that's cross-platforming between two platforms that are really good, LinkedIn and Meetup. We use another platform too with our clients called Alignable. That's a little complicated to get into. I'm not going to get into it, but we engage in that right now. It's a new platform. It works really well. It does a lot of good local marketing. So you can see, and I hope you're beginning to see how if you combine these strategies, it starts really increasing your Google traffic over time. You get the best of both worlds, high-level connectors and large audiences, and you start building credibility for both kinds of audiences. So I think, Mike, you asked a question earlier. This is how you start building more people coming to your events and wanting to hang around with you and introduce people to you, okay? So I'm not going to go into too much detail here, just out of interest of time, but the steps to creating a pipeline and Meetup and LinkedIn. There's the design and planning phase, there's the execution phase, and then there's the growth phase I mentioned earlier. The design and planning phase, the basic design stuff that you need to do in the Global Meetup or the Global Business Mastermind that I provide, I actually show you how to do this. There's a hand-holding phase that I work one-on-one with you to make sure your design is good. It pays off for me with all the time that I spend with you upfront in my program. Because if you get a good offer and you get a good, well-designed sales funnel, then you can collaborate, and it's a win for me and it's a win for all my other masterminders as well. And you want to do this because this is how you attract people who want to collaborate with you, because they'll see that you have a good funnel, your messaging makes sense, resonates for them, and like that. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but basically there's a design phase, there's an execution phase, and there's a growth phase. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about the golden window of opportunity for you and why I promote my clients to at least 75,000, not 100,000 plus people using my Meetup and other platforms. This is not theory. This is hard practice, concrete practice. This is stuff that I do. People's mouth drop wide open when I share how many people I promoted them to, and they see the results. So I want to share that here pretty soon. But first, what I want to do is I want to offer the free session that I mentioned earlier. So this is a Grow Your Business Audience and Profit session. To schedule, you want to go to meetupchat.com or email me directly at sunil@kahayamind.com. If you go to the chat box and scroll up, you will see the link right there for meetupchat.com. Or you can email me directly at sunil@kahayamind.com. Some of you are on the phone. So that's Meetup Chat, like MEETUPCHAT, meetupchat.com, or sunil@kahayamind.com, and SUNIL@CAHAYAMIND.com. What you'll get in this session is, one, a concrete, clear audience building and profit plan customized to you. Now, I'm going to listen to what you're doing right now, who your target markets are, what your narrative is, and at least be able to give you a first draft plan on how this could work for you, okay? There's an option for some of you who want to get to high-level connectors and profitable speaking gigs and loyal referral partners. I can tell you exactly how to do that, what the steps are, the easy next steps to take, and also, if you're interested, how the Global Business Mastermind will work for you. Now, I encourage all of you to be interested in this because it's a fabulous opportunity. It's a very affordable opportunity, you'll find. And there are, if we're a match, and I'm looking for people who are a match, I'm not interested in just selling my program. I want to get people who are ambitious, generous, fair-minded, partnership-oriented people. I'm sure most, if not all of you are like that. And we'll talk about that if that's pertinent. There are limited time slots, so you want to get your time slot quickly. Make sure you go to meetupchat.com or email me directly. And the links and the email is on the chat box here, so you can do that fairly quickly. Okay, a couple of testimonials here. Some of you who are in the coaching circles, you know Charlotte Jacobs. I was her coach, her first coach actually a while back, many years ago. I helped her triple her income in a few months. The training that I gave her is still something she uses to this day with herself and with other clients as well. These are some of the clients I've worked with in the mastermind. Cami Baker, who started up a set of meetup groups in Boston, very, very competitive area. She had a wait list and 75% over capacity in 48 hours. Juliet Clark was in Salt Lake City, and about 500,000 people there, but she still had a pretty good turnout. And she also had a wait list in a few weeks. I'm not promising waiting lists, but you can certainly generate an audience. Remember that it's not an overnight thing. We're generating a sales engine over time, not an overnight result here. How do you get breakthroughs in your business? And I'll get to why I collaborate here in a second. But this is a very important point to understand. You want to create more groups. Now, there's a prevailing assumption, and a lot of people come to me in marketing, whether they do meetups or LinkedIn or whatever, that they just set up one channel and they expect miracles to happen overnight. You can't do that. You want to create more groups, more channels, more alternatives for people to find you. So you want to create more groups, more LinkedIn groups, more meetup groups, more alignable accounts, so that you have a larger reach, and then you can select who you want to work with. You want to do webinars and virtual events, so you're not geographically limited anymore. You can collaborate with more people. The traveling roadshow strategy is something we train people to do in our mastermind, where you can travel from town to town and do meetup groups and build business and enjoy your travel at the same time. The tornado effect is when you combine Google, LinkedIn, Alignable, and Meetup, like I shared earlier. When you start doing that over time, it creates more people coming to you and more people finding you online. You build your tribe. This is something that we cover in the mastermind. There's absolutely no time I can do this in a justified fashion. But this is a whole topic in itself that I talk about. If you're interested in finding out more about how you can build and engage your tribe, especially if you have one right now, certainly do the chat session with me. Go to meetupchat.com and sign up for that free chat with me. I can share more. You can build your email list with Meetup and with LinkedIn too. And this can grow pretty substantially if you have your own email list. Then it becomes your own list, and you can control it completely. It's fantastic. One of the things I didn't have time to cover is you can also post content on Meetup as well, and it gives you some pretty good traffic over time. Because the biggest thing is collaborations. You want to set up collaborations at your level. You want to start easy and then build up more and more. And the fastest way I've seen to find and build collaborations easily, I'm saying easily without having to do crazy stuff like set up massive systems, etc., is to do it through Meetup. And we train people how to do that in our mastermind. So put in totality, when you put all of this is how, when you put all these strategies together, you start really building a sales engine for your business. A couple of testimonials here to those of you who are in the real estate investment or real estate realm. Work with Eric Kimmel, and we're setting up a meetup strategy with his agent, and it's doing pretty well in generating leads for him. This is done very imaginatively. It helps create a very strong pipeline for your business. If you use Meetup correctly, it's very time efficient as well, and can be done very well. These are a couple more testimonials. There's Angeline in San Diego. Julie Parker in Houston has grown her groups astronomically now. She's been in our mastermind a little less than a year, but she hasn't been that active even with the Meetup stuff, but still growing very well. And now she's beginning to collaborate and set up what we call wolf packs. Wolf packs are subgroups within our mastermind who work in groups of 4 or 5 people. So these are masterminders in my program who decide to collaborate together to dominate a particular market in a city or a particular target niche. So we have, for example, the San Jose professional Wolfpack, which goes after professionals in the San Jose area through Meetup and LinkedIn. We also have the San Jose Real Estate Investment Wolfpack, which is designed to attract real estate investors. It's a group of 4 people in that. And they all collaborate. They're non-compete businesses, but they're going after the same audience. This is a great way to start running your business. And again, like I said, Meetup offers a really easy, straightforward way and really good way to build a collaborative like that. So a quiz here. There are 3 blind spots. And I want to do a quiz here. I didn't tell you about this, but there's a surprise quiz. So why do most meetups or other forms of audience generation fail for most people who try? Why do they fail mostly? The answer is they're not doing it right. They don't have the right launch date. They don't have the right narrative, or they're not going after the right target markets. What is the #1 profound mistake made by most businesses in marketing? It's the #1 profound mistake. And it's that marketing strategy does not lead thinking and decision making. Most people come up with an idea of how they could do something in marketing, but they don't think through the strategy first. Like, who do they want to attract? What are the reasons, compelling reasons that people want to write you a check? Is it compelling enough? Is it interesting enough? If it's not interesting, why the heck would you want to do it? Doesn't make any sense. Why are you struggling and efforting so much with people who may not be interested? Now, it doesn't mean everyone's going to be interested in what you do, but, if you have the right narrative, the right people will raise their hands, and you're going to know right away. You can tell right away. These are great people to work with. And in my experience, the 20% of the people who come to my meetup groups on an average or my webinars, they're the great ones to work with. They're awesome. It's awesome to have that. And you don't have to have the whole world work with you, but you just have to have the right people. So you have the marketing strategy first before you jump into ideas and tactics. What is the greatest risk of all for most of you, all of you probably? The answer is opportunities lost. I see people dwelling on things that take up a lot of time. They worry about it, but then they don't see the other opportunities that are there. So why is it urgent to take action now? And what is the opportunity right now to get into action on? And I would say, like I said, the biggest risk is opportunity cost. And this really is an opportunity cost. I see people just struggling, well, not so much struggling, but just being content or complacent about doing the same thing every month. But they're not looking at something new. And, I'm not saying you got to take a risk with something new, but what I'm presenting is a great, I feel it's a great opportunity. It's probably the greatest opportunity I've seen in a marketing space in all the years I've been in business since 1991. And that's the biggest opportunity, is to collaborate, not just with me, but with other people, and get an opportunity to be promoted to 80,000 of my people. Not everyone is going to qualify for this, but the right ones will. If you're ambitious, you're generous. I don't even care how many people you have in your audience right now, but if you show a commitment to collaborate and you show a commitment to participate and engage, and to put your money where your mouth is, and not just your money, but also your commitment where your mouth is, then you have an opportunity to be promoted to 80 to not 100,000 of my people. And that doesn't, I'm not even including the collaborations with the other people I know who are generating large audiences in my mastermind as well. Why is collaboration so important? The basics of collaboration is that you create a partnership. A partnership has to be win-win. You may waste a lot of time with wrong partnerships, but you want to learn the art and science of generating the right kind of partnerships. If you're interested in generating partnerships, I want to chat with you for sure. So make sure you go to meetupchat.com and set up a time to talk with me. What is the #1 factor in having the right kind of collaborations? Well, you want to set up what I call the environment or the ecology and your message. What do I mean by that? See, in my mastermind, for example, and in your meetup groups and your communities, you want to set up the right environment. The right environment is where you invite people to engage with you, to ask questions, to want to find out, to try things with. So, even when people join my mastermind and they don't have much of an audience, I'm willing to collaborate with them from day one. Why can I do that? Because I have huge bandwidth in audience outreach. I can afford to take one of my meetup groups and collaborate with somebody who has maybe 60 people in our database or a couple of hundred and still do a win-win. So it's that kind of attitude that I'm talking about, the willingness to do a collaboration as long as it's a win-win and as long as it makes sense for everybody. Then you also want to make sure that your message and your narrative makes sense for your collaborations and your partnerships. So you want to set up your your offering for your partnership. So we train people in how to not just come up in an elevator pitch, but really feel that your narrative is something powerful, great, and compelling, and wow, it feels really good and solid for you, you know. And so when you share it with people, you can look them straight in the eye and go, yeah, this is something I really want you to join. I can see that you're really great for me to work with. And then the people who are not a good match, you'll know right away, and you can be selective, which is good. When you're selective, then you're well in the better negotiating seat. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So again, what I'm offering is grow your business audience and profit session. The schedule, you want to make sure you go to meetupchat.com or email me directly at sunil@kahayamind.com. The links are on the chat box. So you can go there. If you're listening to the recording, which I'll be sending out later in the week, you can go to these links as well. I'll probably provide them in the email that you get. Probably do the recording in about a week or less. So those of you who want to move forward and engage talking with me for a free chat, by all means, please go to meetupchat.com and set up your time. Again, what you get is a concrete, clear audience building and profit plan customized to you. If you're interested, we'll talk about how to get to high-level connectors, profitable speaking gigs, and loyal referral partners. And I'll talk about easy next steps to take. And then if you're interested, certainly inviting you to be interested in the mastermind. I'll show you how it works and how it makes sense. So make sure you go to the meetupchat.com or email me directly to get that opportunity. Again, a few other recommendations here. Some of you may know Joss Hannon, especially if you're in the Bay Area. She's the founder of Promote Her Business. I'm actually speaking at her event on Monday. So those of you who are going to be at that event, I'll be there as well. She's also a member of our mastermind and certainly a huge proponent of what we do. And I also wolf pack with her in one of my wolf packs. By the way, wolf pack is spelled WOLF. Some of you keep asking me that. It's a wolf pack, like a wolf and a pack. It's groups of 4 people or so who want to dominate a particular target market in the area. But Joss Hannon is certainly a proponent for us. Jory Fisher is in Baltimore. She's growing her meetup groups very well. She's a member of our mastermind as well. And actually, these numbers are old. She has probably way more members right now in her meetup groups combined. And I'm also creating a wolf pack. Actually, we already created a wolf pack with her with 4 members from different parts of the country. We have one person in Utah, another person in Pennsylvania, me, of course, in the Bay Area, and Jory in Baltimore. And we're already setting up meetup groups and growing that area. Julie Parker is also setting up a wolf pack here in Houston. So if you're interested in marketing to these cities and you want to join these wolf packs, you can almost join it. I tell you, I mean, really, we can get going as soon as a week, but those of you who are a little bit more deliberate, you can take our time doing it and set up your presence in your area first. Okay, it's always good to start with basics. So again, I'm offering the Grow Your Business and Profit session. Make sure you go to meetupchat.com or email me directly at sunil@kahayamind to get your free 15-minute session with me. And that's pretty much it. I think I covered all the questions in my presentation as far as I can tell. If you still have questions, make sure you get on the meetupchat.com link and schedule a time with me. I'm already seeing some of the slots have been taken. I think I have a slot on Saturday. And I think I have 1 or 2 slots, I think, on Monday. So make sure you get those slots before they go. Or email me directly at Sunil. Those of you who don't like using the scheduling thing, I know how it is. Sometimes it's a little annoying using the scheduling system. You can email me directly at sunil@kahayamind.com as well. And we can set up a time that way. Okay, I think that's pretty much it right now. I want to thank you for the opportunity to present this information. I look forward to working with some of you, if not all of you, in our program in the future. And have a great day, have a great weekend, and we will talk soon. Take care.